prospective solution partner, somebody that we're going to have as part of Scaleforce and whose clients we're going to be cross-marketing with other solution partners. And I'm going to show you exactly how I present it to them. And I think you're going to be excited about when I'm finished with it. I almost don't get any no's. It's really incredible how powerful this has become. We've really fine-tuned the message. You're going to learn about Scaleforce, what it does, and how it works. And then I'm going to take you through the opportunity that you have here today and show you what your role as a certified business strategist would look like. I'm going to introduce you to the power tools that we've developed that magnify your value and your efficiency. And I'm going to show you how CBSs are compensated with income and equity. This is not just a place to get a good income. The folks who are good at this are going to get wealthy. I'm going to take you through the features and benefits of Scaleforce. I'm going to explain to you all about the training and certification program. I'm going to take you through what's basically covered in our curriculum for the training, what qualifications you'll need to qualify for this program. I'm going to take you through the timeline so you can see exactly what happens when in the training program, right on through to testing, right on through to certification, right on through to how we're going to work with you out in the field as part of your training. So it'll be part pre-training and part on-the-job training so that you have the complete support for what it is we're going to show you how to do here. And then I'm going to take you through the application for how you can enroll in the process. And I'm even going to take you through the costs, which is probably the one question everybody's going to have at the end. God, this is fantastic, but what's it going to cost me? And the exciting news is that we have an inaugural, got to pronounce that word right, inaugural pricing for BF members. So if you stay with me through to the end here, you're going to be very excited about how it all comes together for you. I'd like to also say that for those of you who are Essentials or Pro members, and the reason you affiliated with Bizarre Financing in the first place is you had this goal to buy a business and to do it with little or none of your own cash. So the bonus for you today, and I'm going to show it to you, is you're going to see how being a Scaleforce CBS makes buying a business with no cash and running it afterwards 2 to 3 times easier and way more profitable. I'm going to show you how being a CBS literally puts you in the catbird seat for the cherry picking of the best buying opportunities out there. It just doesn't get any better. So hang in there with me. This is going to be a very exciting webinar we're going to have together today. If you have any questions, of course, you by now, most of you type those questions into the question box on the right side panel. I'll get to as many of them as I can. Any unanswered questions, you can send them an email to me at question@bizarrefinancing.com. But also, we have some additional methods of getting your questions answered today. And one of them is to use the chat box to talk back and forth to us and to other people on the webinar. And then we have some polls that are going to ask you some questions, give me some feedback as to what you're thinking and how you see some of the opportunity that we're going to be putting in front of you. And then we'll share those results of the poll with everybody so you can see how everybody else is thinking about the same thing. So this is a very interactive session that we're going to have today, and I'm very excited about it. And if you sense that I tend to be a little overly passionate or overzealous about any of this stuff, just remember, we've been developing this for a couple of years now to bring it to the point where we've totally gone through all the strategic thinking and strategic planning so that when you put your effort out there, that you're going to be absolutely optimizing your time value so that all the strategic thinking has been done and quantified and infused into the program. And I think you're going to see how comprehensive it is and how everything has been thought through and optimized for your benefit. So relax in here with me. We're going to have some real fun today, and I think you're going to be very excited about what. Welcome to Scaleforce, and we see Scaleforce as every business's ultimate growth partner, and it's certainly your ultimate growth partner if you're a CBS, and of course you're part of that partnership, as you'll see. I'd like to spend a minute and introduce you to some of our partners. What you're seeing here is a very important part of where we are today, what we've achieved so far, because when I put this up now in front of, remember, I'm going to take you through a presentation exactly the way I give it to a solution partner. So this is what we're actually doing now. I introduce them to some of our partners, and the reason I'm doing that is, as you will see as I introduce them, they get a sense that they're going to be joining an elite group of companies that they want to be affiliated with, they want to be associated with. So let me start out here with Costco. Why Costco? Because they have millions of members, and a lot of their members are small and mid-sized businesses, and they're not looking at us to bring them more clients for Costco, so we won't be cross-marketing them that way. The reason they want to be affiliated with us is because they're constantly looking for new ways to leverage the value of their membership to bring new services and important revenue streams to them as people enroll in things that are displayed at Costco. So we'll be working with Costco. We're going to start with a couple of their local stores, and then we're going to spread it out. But basically, the whole idea of Costco is to tap into their membership base of businesses with them endorsing them to us and the things that we can do for them. Then we have US Bank here. US Bank is the 5th largest largest bank in the country. It actually has more offices than any other bank in the country. A lot of their clients are businesses. They loan them money. They hold their deposits. They perform all kinds of services for them. They have a lot of prestige with the companies that are their clients. And we have, and I'll explain it later, a cross-marketing arrangement now with them. So they're one of our anchor partners. Going to a mall, right? They got anchor stores. We have among them some anchors, and one of them is a U.S. bank. 1-800-Accountant over here is not a huge accounting firm, but they do $90 million a year in billing, which makes them one of the 25 largest in the country. And they focus on startups, early stage businesses, small to medium-sized companies. They're very special in the fact that they don't bill by the hour. They have packages. So you buy a package. It's a bookkeeping package. It's a tax package. It's packages. And so they're perfect for some of our clients as opposed to other CPA firms that can get into more sophisticated stuff. So these are very important, and they have tens of thousands of clients throughout the country. Then we have companies like Seed Capital and Fundwise, and both of those do the same thing. It's just Seed Capital is a lot larger than Fundwise. But what Seed Capital does is their whole focus is on providing financing for startups and for emerging companies and early stage companies. Now, they also obviously can work with some mid-sized companies as well, but the whole idea that they work on is they base the qualification for their financing not on the business itself, but on the creditworthiness of the owner or their partners. And so we can get through them credit lines of anywhere from $30,000, which is not all that much, but on up to $250,000 for these early stage and startup type businesses. So these are important partners of ours because they stand ready to capitalize a lot of the things that we're going to want to do with the clients that we bring through the system. Let me jump over here to the other side here. This is a company called Cost Segregation Services. They work with building owners. They look at that building and they'll work with the owner to take it from a deduction that they make after they've depreciated the building over the life of the building, or maybe 30 years is what their depreciation schedule is. But instead, what these guys do is they send in engineers, they pick apart the building from the curtains to the carpeting to the windows to the door frames, whatever it is, and they establish the useful life of those things. They're able to set up a whole new depreciation schedule for the building that pushes most of the depreciation into the first 5 to 7 years, and they're able to create massive deductions early and very smaller deductions later. But that puts a lot of cash in the building owner's hands in tax savings in the early years. And these are one of the best in the country at that, and they're our partner for that. Another one of our tax specialists is Swanson & Reed. They do R&D tax credits. And a lot of companies don't realize this, but they're doing R&D every day. They're developing intellectual property. They're developing a production process. They're developing something, and they don't think of it as R&D. And yet these companies are entitled to substantial tax credits in ways that we can put a lot more money in their pocket by putting in their pocket literally taxes that they don't have to pay. So these two companies here are very important companies to us in the way in which we can save companies money. And then over here, Jets.com is one of the largest jet charter companies, jet brokerage companies in the country. Northrop and Johnson is not one of. It is the largest broker of yachts and charter for yachts and sale and charter of yachts in the world, never mind the country. And we've already set up cross-marketing between these two. If you think about it, you got jets. Who owns jets? Wealthy people. Who owns yachts? Wealthy people. The people who charter and own jets are very likely and highly likely to be the people who charter and buy yachts. And so the clients of these folks are very easily cross-marketed here and vice versa. And this is a company here that's actually came through PIPA. This was a company that is now owned by one of our members. We're a part owner in it by virtue of PIPA, but it is the premier home automation and audio visual company in the country. All right. They don't just do ordinary installations of home automation. Their clients are people literally who have 25, $50 million mansions, $100 million mansions, who want that entire home fully automated so that you walk through a door, it opens for you. It changes the temperature in the room. It puts on the lights. It does whatever it is you need. You just walk around the house. It does what it needs to do for you. And if you got this 20-foot wall over here, so you want ceiling to wall to be a television screen, they'll install it. You want theater quality sound in the room in which you watch television or love to listen to music, they'll install all that. They put in all the automation equipment, all of that stuff that makes it all work with the device in your hand. So they do that very high-end stuff. Now, why is that important? You can see their clients here are the same as these people's clients up here. So we've got this tremendous opportunity for cross-marketing here with the same base. All right, couple over here. Coral Bay Energy is the third-ranked energy broker in the country. Why is that important? Because their clients are building owners who pay a lot of money for electricity. And what they do in the deregulated states is instead of having that owner buy his power from the local power company at monopoly prices, they get him the power from 2,000 miles away, delivered through the grid, delivered through the local power company for 70%, 30%, somewhere in that range, less than they would have to pay that for that same power from their local provider. So it's another way we save companies money. Adams, Evans, and Ross are one of the top collection companies in the country. And so they can help our clients out because a lot of times today, people can't collect their receivables because nobody's got cash or they're hoarding their cash, not knowing what's coming with COVID, right? So these folks are one of the best in the country at collecting the money. And just to show you how powerful, when we bring these people together, things can be, we've already brought Seed Capital and FundWise together with Adams, Evans, and Ross. And Adams, Evans, and Ross has changed their collection method to accommodate these two guys as partners. How does that work? When they call the company that owes the money, they don't beat them up with a stick and try to collect money that they don't have. What they say to them now is, hi, John, we're calling with regard to the money that you owe such and such a company. And we know you're a good guy. We know you wear a white hat. And we know if you had the cash, you'd probably pay the bill. So what we want you to know is we're going to be bringing you to one of our partners, and we'll be able to finance you not only for the money that you owe our client, but for probably 7 to 10 times that amount, so that you'll actually have more cash available in your company. And now through the money we provide for you, you can easily make the payment to our account and have plenty of money left for your other purposes. Now, John, that makes sense, doesn't it? And you know what? They don't get a lot of no's. So we're able to construct these different scenarios when we bring people together that makes them more powerful than they were before. So very exciting. And this is the kind of companies that when we ask people to join us as a solution partner, that they're looking at this, they're hearing this, and they're shaking their head. Yeah, this is good. This is very interesting. All right. So then once we go through this, the next thing we do is we take them through the basic structure of Scaleforce and how it would work for them. And we explain that it's a technology facilitated collaboration platform. It enables all of our partners to work together as if they were one company, where with one portal, one point of entry, they have all the transparency and all of the ability to coordinate with each other through all of the things that we're going to be putting together for them. And then I go on to explain that in the past, when they thought about marketing and they thought about a thing called referrals, getting a referral from another company or another party, that always had value because you had a little bit easier time connecting to the persons that you were referred to as opposed to cold calling or advertising or all of the other methods of getting a client. So everybody understands referral. What we explain to them is what we do is referral put on steroids, because we don't do referrals. We do relationship transfer, because every business that's worth its salt develops a relationship with its clients, that they build a bond with that client. If they're smart, they build a bond of mutual trust and respect. And when you have that as the basis of a relationship, then anything you do with that relationship is going to have more strength. And so we've developed this to a point of a relationship transfer, transferring not just a referral or a name that somebody's got to go call and sell. We are actually going to deliver a client to a solution partner already pre-sold on them, already knowing they want to do business with them. And here's how we do it. I'm going to take you through the whole process. First of all, who are the participants of this process? Project participants, okay? So that's this word right here. And these are the folks that all get to play a part in that transaction that you're going to see occurring. Now, we're going to ignore the personal clients here, and we're going to focus on clients that are businesses. There's another whole scenario I could go through for these programs, but we don't have the time. So I'm going to focus on what we do with clients that are businesses, all right? And then the other parties I'm going to concentrate on are our partners. And our partners can play either of two roles. They can be a client source partner. In other words, it's their client that we're going to cross market in this process. Or they can be the solution partner, the partner that does the work, that provides the solution. And many times in any given sets of transactions, they can play both roles. Sometimes the partner will be the source partner. Other times they'll be the solution partner, the partner that does the work. And then there's one other party in here, which you're here today because we're going to explain your role as this party right here. And that's called the certified business strategist. So this is the person, this is the party that drives the system, that handles the relationship transfer. This is the party that's the secret sauce that makes us different from any other way of transacting cross-marketing. So let me pull it all together for you. Let's take a couple of our partners. Let's take 1-800-ACCOUNTANT, okay? And we know what they do. When they're a solution partner, they're providing an accounting solution for a client. And let's take US Bank. Okay, and they are a solution partner, but in this case, they got tens and tens of thousands of clients, all right? In this case, they're going to be the client source, the source of the client into the system, all right? And you know who you are, right over here. You are the certified business strategist. What's your role in all of this? US Bank has the client, and they have a relationship with that client. And we've developed a process, and you're going to hear a little bit about it today, that doesn't just give you a name, doesn't say go call this person and see what you can do with them, but you work with somebody at the bank to transfer the relationship that they have with them to you through a process that's proprietary with us. We've developed it. It's incredible. You'll see it a little bit of it, at least today, before we get off the call. All right. So that's what's happening, all right? And then you take on the role of a trusted advisor to that business owner and management. So the relationship has been transferred to you. Now, get a little bit of a better feel for a certified business strategist and what they do. I'm going to take you through this in more detail in a few minutes. I just want to give you the lay of the land here. Think of this person as a business coach on steroids, okay? And you'll start to have a feeling of what this person's going to do. This person is going to develop a relationship with this business and the business owners that's going to help them from now on grow their business substantially. So that's the nexus of the relationship transfer here. And then you're going to take that relationship, and at the appropriate times, you're going to identify the needs of this particular client here. And when they need an accountant, what you're going to do is you're going to make that transfer of your relationship with them to 1-800-ACCOUNTANT, so that when 1-800-ACCOUNTANT gets the introduction from you, you will have already worked with the client. They will already know they need this accounting package. They will already know that 1-800-ACCOUNTANT is ideal for them, cost effective, does exactly the work that they need to have done, is competent and worthy of their use. And then you're going to deliver them to them, where all these folks have to do is maybe ask a couple of questions, finalize the package sale or whatever it is that they're going to do for them. They're delivered a relationship, not a referral. Very powerful as the way that get them the business. So hopefully everybody's got a pretty good sense now of what's going to happen and who the parties are that are going to do it. And the only thing I can suggest to you is nobody says no to us, because we've got it refined down to that level. Why is that? Think about this. Suppose you're coaching this business owner, and suppose you're bringing him services or her services that they need to grow their business. What's the only objection they can have? The only objection they can have, okay? They trust you, they respect you, you're a trusted advisor, but now you bring them a solution and they're looking at a bill that could cost 20 grand, that could cost 30 grand, that could cost some decent amount of money. And so what's going to go through the owner's head is, John, this is a great solution you've got here. I'm sure they're great people, but I can't afford it. It's not in my budget. And your answer to that business owner is simply our USP, our unique selling proposition. And you say to them, George, you will never incur a charge except where we put the cash into your bank account first. So don't worry about the budget. And the only thing they can ask is how you're going to do that. And then we explain it to them, okay? You've probably heard that we invented a package of business services called Bigger Bank Balance. That's what the service is called. And the way it works is, and if you were the business owners, what we say to that business owner, look, we're going to bring in about 30 different service providers. They don't charge you anything up front. They're all designed to save you money or bring you new profitable income. They don't charge anything for what they do. They get paid out of the results, all right? So if we save you money, they get a piece of the savings. If we bring you new profit, they get a piece of that profit. But you never pay for it. You just only get money net to you. And so who is it that we're going to bring in? One of them is going to be a property tax specialist. All right, you got this big building here. You probably pay property taxes on this building. And if you're like one of the majority of the commercial building owners, you just take your tax bill when it comes in from the county assessor. They know what they're doing, right? And you pay it. And that's what most building owners do. But not if you're Walmart, because you got 5,000 buildings around the country and you've got specialists on your team who know how to get that building reassessed by the county assessor and get a whole new tax base put on that building and bring that tax down 25, 30, 40, even sometimes 50%. 78% of all building owners overpay their property tax. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring in our guys. They're going to do an analysis and a study of the area and your building. They're going to go sit with the county assessor and they're going to get your building reappraised. And not only will we save you a tremendous amount of money going forward, but in most states, they can go back 3 years and all the overpayments, because they've overtaxed your building, we'll be able to have that sitting in your bank account 90 to 120 days from the day we bring them in the door. Now, we're not only going to do that with your building, we're going to do it with your general insurance. We're going to do it with your workers' comp. We're going to do it with your other payroll taxes. We're going to do it with, and we go through a complete list of all the things that we're going to do with them. And we will be able to save them somewhere between 3% and 7% of that company's gross annual sales and have that money in their checking account in 90 to 120 days. So if a company's doing $10 million a year in sales, that's $300,000 to $700,000 cash in their bank account within 90 to 120 days. A big portion of that we're going to dedicate to using to pay for other services and solution partners that we bring in, where they do need to be paid some of what they get up front. So whatever clients we bring into them, they are never writing us a check where we didn't put the money into the account before they did it. And If push comes to shove, we introduce them to seed capital and to Fundwise, and we can get them a line of credit to pay for things that they need to get paid for. But most of the time, we don't even have to go there. We can do it right out of the savings we're able to create with the bigger bank balance service. And then you can see we've gone through the strategic thinking. It makes this so attractive to everybody we bring it to that nobody says no. It just makes so much sense. It's something that there's no upfront cost to them. We've eliminated the upfront cost. You just can't say no. I don't know how else to say it. So anyway, this is what we do. Okay. Now, one more thing, and that's that it shifts. Okay. Sometimes it's the accountant. 1-800-ACCOUNTANTS, that's the client source, and then it's US Bank that we're bringing them to. These guys see a lot of startup businesses and early stage businesses where they don't have a great relationship with a bank yet that's willing to do anything for them. So it's the perfect time to bring them here. Hopefully by now you've got a really good idea of how this works, and all of this is built on a technology platform where everybody goes into a portal. There's total transparency. If you're the source of the client, when your client now comes through the system, they're going to be going onto their portal. They'll see everyone that you've cross-marketed their client to. They'll know who the solution provider are. They'll know what's being done, what the status of that project or that job is, how much money is being charged, how much is their share of the revenue, because everybody's going to get revenue from their clients who's being cross-marketed, and they'll know when they're getting paid. So it's total transparency, total visibility, and everybody can track it. Even the client can go in there and see for anybody we've brought in, where is that project, what's been done, what hasn't been done, estimated due date, cost, and when they're going to have to pay them. They're going to see it all on their portal. They don't have to call up every day and say, where is this? And so everything is now workable through a collaboration platform that lets everybody work together like they're all just part of one entity. How exciting is that? How convenient is that? How powerful is that? All right, I'd like to try a poll with you here. So I don't do polls often, so if I mess this up, I'll apologize, but let's go try one of the polls and I can get a little feel for how you're thinking about some of this stuff. So I'm selected one of the polls, and hopefully you can see the poll and you can have an opportunity to do it. Okay, I'm launching the poll now. I didn't do it right, I think. I closed it out already. Oh my gosh. How do I open it back up? Uh-oh, I blew it. Let me see if I can do this. Nope. It's not going to work. All right. Anyway, the questions are, can you see yourself making this presentation online to a prospective solution partner? You don't have to do it with my passion. You just have to be able to take the slides, as you will, and be able to, at your own pace, articulate them to a prospective solution partner that you might be talking to. Or you can even adjust this presentation to make it to a client so that they know how the system's going to work for them. The point is, the system has been reduced to a point where it's quickly explainable. It has all of the pieces necessary to be presented with credibility and easy understanding to the people that we're presenting it to. So the poll I messed up is, can you see yourself making this presentation? I'm sorry about that. All right, let me try it this way with this one. This is poll number 2. Can you see yourself asking for the application to see if they are qualified? Okay, so in other words, when you finish the presentation, you're going to say to them, John, we'd love to have you in here, but you need to be qualified. We have a lot of outstanding partners here. They're going to want to know that you measure up. We'd like you to fill out an application. Is that something you'd be willing to do right now? So that's what we're asking you, if you can see yourself making that offer to them. And the options are yes, definitely, no, yes, but only if they ask me what is the next step. Okay, so those are the 3 choices that you've got, and what we want to know is what you think. You should be able to complete those, and then I should be able to launch this and get the results of everybody. So let's see what happens here. Everybody 100% said yes, definitely. Well, that's great. Thank you, guys. Thank you. All right, because I thought hopefully everybody would see that. All right, so let me close that poll. All right, so now let's go to the next poll. All right, this is number 3. Can you see yourself signing them up? One is yes, definitely. The other is no, I'm not a good closer. And the other is maybe, but only if they demand I let them in. And by the way, that may sound humorous to you, but when we tell people they may not qualify, they start selling us. They start saying, we're this, we're that, we've got this award, we've got that award, we've got testimonials from our clients. They all tell us that they love us. We're ranked number 2 in the entire nation. And they go through this whole thing with us as to why we need to let them in. Okay, 100% definitely yes. Thank you again for that. All right, I'm going to close out the poll. The next one is, can you see yourself working with them to bring them business? Right? We know how that works now. Okay, so we're going to launch the poll. Okay, poll in progress, distributing poll. 100%. You guys are really fast on the trigger here. 100%. Yes, this is starting to sound like a North Korea election. You hear that they got 100% voted for the leader and then nobody voted otherwise, and this is scary here. All right, I'm going to close out that poll, and then we're going to go to the next one. Can you see yourself taking on the role of the trusted advisor to their clients? And you got 3 answers, yes, definitely, no, and I'm not sure, okay? So I'm going to launch the poll, and let's see where we're going to go. The poll in progress, definitely. This is a Korean election here. All right, I think we got 1 or 2 more, and then we can move on to the rest of our day together here. So the next poll is, would you be excited to learn how each signed up partner is worth $10,000 to $20,000 in perpetual annual income to you. Okay, 100% definitely. Listen, does anybody? If I could have had one of the polls, does anybody see themselves not being able to do this? All right, so we're going to close out that one. We have just one more of these to go, and that's number 7 here. Would you be excited to learn how each client relationship transferred to you? Whenever one of our solution partners transfers a relationship to you, that it's worth anywhere between $2,000, because that's the low end of what you learn from that transfer, and $60,000. I'll tell you in a minute how that actually happens, how you get to $60,000 for that one party a year. I'm going to launch the poll. Let's see where it goes. Around it goes. Definitely yes. All right. So it is a Korean election. All right. Where that $60,000 comes from. Okay. The role that you're going to be playing, as I pointed out, is something that's very akin to a business coach. The only difference is you've got the ability to deliver solutions rather than recommend them. And the average business coach out there is charging their average client $5,000 a month. That's what a coach for a small to medium-sized business gets. So you will have the ability with clients, when you build a cosmic bond with them, which you're going to hear me talking about a lot, you're going to want to get them to hire you, in addition to the solutions you bring them, to hire you to help them. And I'm going to show you all of the things that you're going to do with them. And your goal is to sign them up for a $5,000 a month fee. And that'll go on month after month, $60,000 a year. Business coaches get it, and they don't even bring solutions. They just advise. So we know this is doable, and we believe it's going to be a very powerful part of what you do. All right, moving on. So now we're talking about you becoming a trusted advisor to business owners and management. The role of the CBS. This is now what you do. Remember, we talked about the bigger bank balance service. So one of the things you're going to do early on with that business is, John, we don't want to ever have to charge you. Even if they don't bring it up, we don't want to ever have to charge you money except for money we brought for you. So you're never going to be out a penny for any solution we're going to bring to you. Here's how we're going to do it. We're going to put in our bigger bank balance service. So through the bigger bank balance service, you're going to cut and eliminate their unnecessary costs. You're going to recapture the lost cash going back 3 years on a lot of the stuff they've overpaid, cash back into their bank account. So that's what's going to happen. Now, I want to stop here for a moment, okay? I want to blow your socks off. Remember, I talked earlier when I was showing you the example of US Bank. You know why they love us? You know why they are absolutely ecstatic about being our solution partner for a bank? Check this out. If you are a business borrower and you get financing from a bank, you sign a finance agreement for the loans you get or whatever they are, right? And in that loan agreement, they have what are called covenants. So not only would you be in default of your loan if you stop paying, but if you violate your covenants, the bank can default you out, because once you default the covenants, you have to pay up right away. And those covenants generally take the form of financial ratios that give the bank an indicator of your financial strength, like your debt to equity ratio, your cash to liabilities ratio, your sales to asset ratios. All these ratios are important, and many of them find their way into your agreement. And if you go below certain ratios, then the bank can foreclose and get their money back while you still have some capacity to pay, rather than wait till you default and then there's no way to get any of their money back. So the bank has what's called a watch list. Every month or 6 months, whatever your reporting period is, you have to send updated financials to the bank. They look at your ratios, and if you're anywhere near defaulting, you're on their watch list. And that means that they have to worry about you violating your covenants, and they don't want to foreclose. They will do anything almost to keep you and get you off that watch list. Now, why does the bank love us so much? Because we now work with the people at the lending department, and they call us and they say, Gordon, we just got another one of our loans on our watch list. We'd like you to meet them and bring in your bigger bank balance service and get them off our watch list. So they literally call up the client. You get a call from your bank. Do you take the call? Of course you do. And they say to him, John, we'd like to get you off this watch list. We know you'd like to get off. So you're going to get a call today from Gordon Bizarre over there at Scaleforce, and they're going to introduce you to a way that they can get you off our watch list in anywhere from 120 days. So when he calls, you'll know who he is. So now when we call, do you think we have any problem getting him on the line? Do you think we have any problem showing them what the bigger bank balance service will do to them? With the bank having referred them in, do you think there's going to be any resistance on their part to saying, no, I don't want this? Of course not. So that's how it begins. And that's the beginning of our relationship with that client, to now not only get them off the watch list, but then help to build their growth of their company through all of the other services that we'll bring in that they're not going to pay a penny for. And the bank's happy for 2 reasons, right? 2 reasons. One is to get somebody off the watch list, because now they got enough cash in their company to satisfy a lot of these ratios. And we've plugged a lot of holes in their boat, right? The leaks are plugged. So they're leaking less expenses, which now that means they're making profit or more profit, and they've got more cash in their account. So they're off the watch list. But equally as important, what did the bank just do? They turned a problem account that they are worried about foreclosing on into not only getting off the watch list, but they turned them into revenue because of all of those savings that we just created. We get a share of that. It goes to us, right? It goes to our partners who did the savings. And some of that finds its way back into shared revenue back to the bank. So the bank just turned this problem account into income. At the same time, they solved the problem. How can you not love that? Okay. And that's just one of the relationships that we're setting up with US Bank. And it's fantastic. So this is something that's going to produce a lot of revenue for our CBSs. And what's going to happen here is we're going to do a lot of good for these clients. And you can see how that transfer of relationship and strength is starting to work because we build it into what we call the segue. In other words, we create a segue between every interaction between a solution partner and our certified business strategist, and then our certified business strategist and the solution partner that positions the interaction with the client into that relationship transfer mode. So that is part of the secret sauce of how we do all this stuff. All right, moving on. So you're going to do this, initiate bigger bank bound service. You're going to be part of evaluating the company operations and personnel. Now, later on in our meeting today, I'm going to take you through some of the tools that we've created that make this a piece of cake for you to do it and enable you to come back with an authoritative evaluation of that company and where their strengths and weaknesses are. You're going to identify the needed improvements. You're going to develop the company growth strategy. You're going to develop and prioritize projects for implementation. In other words, what's going to get them out of problems and what's going to get them to where they want to go. And then you're going to guide the implementation of those projects, including our solution providers who help make them happen. And you're going to guide the engagement of the solution partners. So it's all one collaborative effort to make this client stellar in their business. You're going to enforce quality performance by all the parties. So it's up to you to make sure, because you're going to have visibility to everybody and what they're doing through the portal. And it's up to you to enforce the quality performance by all the parties, because we don't want anything falling between the cracks. We want happy clients and happy solution partners. And of course, you're going to measure and quantify the value of results. They're going to be in the form of what are called KPIs that are going to be in the system. So when our people come into the system, they're going to see in progress in those KPIs exactly the value that you brought to them, exactly how powerful you've been on their behalf in helping them build their company. We've gone through every single aspect of what has to happen, not only to get the work done, but to make sure it's appreciated by all the people who we're bringing together and making this work. Now, here are some of the power tools that we've put together for you that make you incredibly powerful and virtually unstoppable. Our pro members already know these tools. One is the business price calculator and one is the doable deal analyzer. Now, what role do they play in all this? By having these two tools right here, it permits you as the certified business strategist to help your clients grow by acquisition using little or none of their own cash. Somebody prolific in the knowledge of these two tools can work with that client and help them set up an acquisition program. And then when they find the target companies, the evaluation through the business price calculator and the doable deal analyzer enable you to construct exactly how that company is going to be bought, exactly what the cash flows are going to be once it's been bought, and how it's going to be done with little or no cash from your client company. So they're going to grow without having to use up their capital to do it. And they're going to grow not in 5, 10, 15% per year like they would through internal growth. They're going to grow 50 to 100% per year by buying companies that are half their size to equal to their size and literally compounding their growth in a manner that business owner probably never thought he would accomplish until you showed up on the scene. They're going to be able to buy up competitors. They're going to buy companies with complementary products and service offerings. They're going to have a whole new agenda for how they're going to really build and grow their businesses. And you're going to be able to grow that company during boom and bust, because we already know that there are acquisition strategies that work in great times and roll up companies and make them bigger and better. But those same strategies with slight modifications apply equally as well in the downturns. In fact, more money is made in the downturns by acquisition than is made in the upturns. Upturns, everybody's excited about their business. Nobody wants to sell. In downturns, everybody's scared as hell and they don't know where their cash flow is coming from. The offer to buy is there. They see the opportunity to cash out or to partner with people who they believe are stronger, and the acquisition market is stronger in the bad times. So good times, bad times, you are that business owner's best friend. And it permits the client sale of the business for its highest possible valuation. Why? Because the way we're using these tools to help the client grow by acquisition, but they're going to have a strategy at some point for how do they sell this business, right? How do they get top dollar for it? If you don't know how to value a business, if you don't know how that all comes together, how do you build your business so that at the end you have something highly saleable? If you don't have a target, you're not going to hit anything worthwhile. You got to have a target. So the target is going to be how you know how to structure this business so that you're going to attract a strategic buyer who's going to play top dollar for this company, and all of the right metrics will be there, the right scalability, the right structure for that business so that it's earnings rich, as opposed to asset rich businesses do not command the highest price. Earnings rich companies command the highest prices. So you're going to show them how to structure it so that they have minimal assets and high earnings to get that top dollar from a strategic buyer. And your knowledge of how to do that is going to blow their socks off as to how they didn't meet you years ago to have been part of their growth for their business. More power tools, okay? We're going to introduce you, if you haven't been already, to an RMA e-statement studies, which will tell you for whatever SIC code you want to know what the standard ratios are for all the financial numbers of that particular industry. And we're going to be able to take you through a competition comparison so that you'll be able to show the owner of that business that you're working with not only what his ratios and his numbers are on his financial statements, but what all his competitors are. And every business owner I know yearns to know what his competitors' numbers are. What am I working against? What is my competitor doing that I'm not? How is his sales to asset ratio? Am I as efficient as they are? You're going to know all that from the e-statement studies. You're going to be able to compare it at ratio for ratio to their business. And we're going to train you how to do this stuff. So if you don't know now, it's okay, because when you're finished with the training, you will, and you'll be able to apply it immediately to working with clients. Every business hungers to know their competitors' numbers. The difference in key ratios point to areas that need improvement. So when you take that business owner to one of your solution providers, it'll be because in this process, you've identified where he's weak and what he should be doing to meet or beat the competition. And you'll be able to show the solution provider what your expectations is of them, where they need to bring this client. And you'll put in force the KPIs, which our system will monitor, showing the solution partner and the client business how they're achieving their goal of reaching those ratios. All right? Very exciting stuff. Understanding ratios allows for pinpoint accuracy in identifying an optimum solution. And progress can be measured and quantified by monitoring monthly ratio improvements. So everybody knows and everybody appreciates that they're on the winning team getting the job done. Another power tool. Now, those of you who are in pro especially, but some of you who are in essentials, these words, build-up buy-in. A build-up buy-in enables the CBS, that's you, equity ownership in client companies. All this time, whatever job you've ever had, whatever position you've ever been in, you got income. Now you're going to create wealth through equity. And here's how it's going to happen. In the build-up buy-in, you create your entitlement to equity in the client company by achieving milestones that make the company worth way more as you achieve each milestone than the small piece of equity that you're getting in the company. So the owner is giving up equity, but even though their percentage might be a little smaller because now you've got a small percentage of the business, theirs is worth more because you've just built the company to a higher level. Increased earnings and or cash flow are one of the milestones you can use. Size and profitability of acquisitions, one of the type milestones you can use. Amount of capital that's raised through your solution partners is one of the metrics that you can use for the milestones. This gets you equity in the company you're working with. Then a build-up buyout lets you buy them out. Now, why is this one so powerful? What are we in the middle of, guys? Come on, gals. What are we in the middle of? We're in the middle of one of the biggest transfers of wealth ever on planet Earth. You got these baby boom business owners. They have to retire. They're retiring in record numbers now. They have to sell their companies, and there's a lack of qualified buyers out there. So all of them are hungry for an exit strategy of how do they get out of their business without just having to liquidate them, because that's the least way they're going to get money out of their company. You're in the catbird seat. You're the super consultant to this company. You're the super grower of these companies. You're the super facilitator of these companies. You know who the good guys are. You know who the ones are that have real growth potential. You know the guys who really want to get out and are hungry to do it. You're meeting them and you're working with them and you're part of their inner circle every day. And it's not very hard for you to turn to them and say, John, I can satisfy your exit strategy because here's how I propose. I can buy out your company and give you top dollar for it. And you use the same concept as a build-up buy-in, but now you have a twist to it where after you reach a certain level of ownership, it shifts and where you now take over the company, and through the resources of the company, you buy out the rest of that owner's shares. So the build-up buyout enables full CBS ownership of client companies. It just doesn't get any better than this. It just doesn't get any better. One more poll. All right. I hope you're having as much fun as I am. One more poll. Can you see how a CBS is perfectly positioned to do build-up buy-in and build-up buyouts with clients looking for their exit? Okay. So I opened up the poll. Okay. 100%. Yes, definitely. I'm going to leave it up for another few seconds here just in case somebody does come in with a different answer. 100%. Yes, definitely. So that's pretty constant there. Okay. We're good. All right. That was the last poll. So let me get to some more of the good stuff here. All right. More power tools. Contribution margin calculator. Okay, we're going to train you how to use this, how to complete one. And by the way, these are all automated forms. You just put numbers in from different places that will tell you where to go to get them. And then the forms are automated. They do all the work. All of the heavy lifting is done for you. The reason that this is important is many solutions require knowledge about contribution margin. Okay, for each product or service offered by a company. With this tool, you will know in less than 15 minutes the contribution margin for any product or service in the company. Okay, and actually in 15 minutes, you'll know it for all of them. They could have 10 different products. All of them have different contribution margins. You'll know what all of them contribute in the way of contribution margin profitability to the company. And the reason that it's important for any company to know that, and so few do, because they are the key to many budgeting and spending decisions. Many companies think they make a lot of profit on a certain product, and so they spend inordinately to promote and produce that product. And then when you do the contribution margin, many times you will find out that is not a really profitable product or service for the company to offer. It looks like it is until you do the right analysis. And we're going to show you how you'll be canceling product lines of companies because they've got money flowing out the door that they don't realize because they don't understand contribution margin. Once you're trained in this, again, you'll know how to make perfect sense of what they're doing. Maybe they have too much or not enough money going into advertising and promotion, because if it's a high contribution margin, they should be putting more money into promotion. If it's a low contribution margin, they either should maybe close it down or maybe spend less on promotion because the money isn't being spent to produce the level of profit that if it was put into other products or services, they'd get more of a return. So this contribution margin comparison and calculator will give you all that. Which products or services to keep, which ones to discontinue, measure improvement in efficiency, reduce it to a final KPI so that they can see on a month-by-month basis, are they improving their contribution margin or are they not improving the contribution margin? Are the things you're doing with them helping them to generate more and more higher profitability products and services? They're going to love you. They're going to see things in their business that they are going to feel like their eyes have been opened and that they've been working in the dark all these years trying to intuit the right thing to do, and you're going to start bringing it down to process so that no longer is it in an owner's head and he's having to figure everything out and be intuitive and fly by the seat of his pants or her pants. I have to watch my genders here. But the point is, you become a very important party to this business owner. Another power tool that we're going to give you, and this is not one you're going to be able to complete all at once. You're going to do it in modules based on which ones you prioritize, but you're going to get a company profile and assessment tool. It starts with 60 pages of questions and instructions broken up into modules that enable module by module optimization of every aspect of the client's business, from production to administration to sales, maintenance. Every single thing that they do in that business is covered in this assessment. And when every module is complete, you will know of the functions within that module exactly what has to happen to optimize them for that company. Allow the assignment of priorities to solutions for the most needed challenges, so you're putting your efforts of yourself and the company to where it's going to do the company the most good, the quickest, and achieve laser focus with absolute clarity, zeroing in quickly on the best solutions. It's going to enable you to organize the process, making implementation quick and results assured. That business owner has never had anybody like you in his company before. He may have had good people. He may have had a guy who knew production. He may have had a person who knew marketing and sales. He may have had a party that knew some other aspects of that part excelled, but then the rest of his business pulled it down. Not anymore. They have a certified business strategist handling the growth needs of their business. It's going to blow their minds. The last tool I'm going to talk about today is the Scaleforce collaboration platform itself, because now we're going to take all this stuff. It's all automated. It's all in the platform to help you do everything you need to do to scale that business for growth. So it has every product and service client needs to optimize growth, to increase their sales. You have sales and marketing, but you have one other tool that nobody else has anywhere. It's ecosystem participation. What is that? Remember, in the very beginning, I showed you an ecosystem of companies that are solution partners for the business community. That's an ecosystem of companies that all have something in common. They provide solutions for businesses. Any business that you're going to have as a client can be part of an ecosystem. Let's say, for example, that they are a real estate broker, okay? And that's your client. We're going to put an ecosystem around them that's going to send their sales to the moon, because the same thing we just did for these business service companies, we're going to do with the broker themselves, a mortgage company, a moving company, an appraisal company, a remodeling company, all the things that a buyer or seller of a home, let's say, is going to need in the way of services and support in the process of identifying a home, buying the home, selling their home, handling the moving, handling the logistics, going to the new place, facilitating the transactions from appraisers to escrow companies. Okay, there's this big number of people and businesses that come in around a buyer or seller. And our system can take any one of those people, put them in that ecosystem, and now the same thing we just did with the solution partners that we have, explode each of their sales, explode each of the number of revenue sources that they get. Okay, and so it's just incredible what we're able to do for people in our system. And the Scaleforce platform, through what you're doing, will cut their costs, improve their cash flow, help them obtain capital, improve the quality of their products or services, cut their taxes, enable acquisitions as a means of growth, improve the security of their company, save them on energy, improve their workplace, enhance their image, lower their stress, increase their free time, sell for more when it comes time to sell their business, and a lot more. I don't have time to go into this list in its full capacity. It's dozens and dozens more things that it enables them them to do. Now, one of the things I want to get up here to do with you too is to go through with you a little bit of how you're going to make some money out of all this. But before I do, I just want you to see what some of the benefits are, just looking at them a little differently. You, through this process, are going to have something everybody in business craves, which is a steady flow of new clients. Why are you going to have a steady flow of new clients without you having to go and chase them down? Because you've got solution partners who are going to be incentivized because of the revenue they're going to get a piece of to share their clients with you. And in fact, you're, if anything, going to have a problem accommodating the number of clients that your solution partners want to get because they're going to earn a lot of money. So I'm going to go through with you just really quickly how this all works for money. Every time you have a solution partner who performs a service for the client, they get paid a fee or some kind of compensation. Whatever happens to that compensation that they get, a portion of it's going to get shared back with the folks who made it happen because they didn't get that client on their own, right? That client was shared from somebody else. So here is the way it works. When this solution partner here has an income, we compute what their contribution margin is. That should sound familiar. And we have a contribution margin calculator that helps us do it really quickly. And then whatever the contribution margin is, simply you take the selling price of the product or service, you remove all the variable costs that they had to incur because they had to produce the solution. And if you take their income and then the variable costs, then you're left with what's called the contribution margin. And that's what should drop to their bottom line because we brought them that client. So if that's the case, which it is, then the agreement is we split the contribution margin. All of their variable expenses, they're all paid, and then half the contribution margin. So in effect, they got half of what normally would have dropped to their bottom line because we brought them the client, which in most cases was not any more than their marketing expense would have been anyway. That's how we define it. So now we have half the contribution margin. We then take that contribution margin that we get half of, and what we do is we split that 20% of the contribution margin now goes to the US bank, okay? Because they were the source of the client. So all of a sudden, they got this big chunk of revenue that they didn't have to do anything for. It just comes to them. They're passive at this point. It's you and the solution partner that just did the work, and they referred you a client, and now you brought that client here. A job was done for the client, and they get a piece of money. And you know what? If we were only doing this for one or two solution providers, the US bank would be happy to get that revenue, but it wouldn't set their world on fire. It would be nice. Everybody loves additional money. But that's not what's happening here, folks. What's happening here is we're creating an ecosystem of 30, 40, 50 more solution partners to work on improving the business of that client. So it's not just 2 or 3 times that this is going to happen. It's dozens of times that this is going to happen over dozens of years. And so it gets to the point where the tail wags the dog. In other words, whatever their core business is here, this bank is going to make more money on their share of the contribution margin of all of our solution partners than they make on that client as their banker. So the tail literally wags the dog. And that's going to be true no matter who sits in this seat right here. They'll get more money for sharing their clients than they make on those clients from their core business. So if you think about it, of the contribution margin, 70% stays with our solution providers, 50% because they did the work, and 20% when it's their client. So 50 and 20 is 70% that stays with our solution providers. The other 30% comes to us. What happens when we get it? 10 to 12% of the contribution margin goes to our CBS. 5 to 7% pays for our platform, our development costs, our maintenance costs, our back office costs, all the things that it takes to operate this thing. And about 7% of it we anticipate will end up as our profit. The rest will be part of the cost that we have of doing it. So that's where all the money goes. And a very big chunk of it comes to you. A lot of money coming into this party right here. And especially when all your clients are brought to you, you facilitate the transfer. And then as everybody else is doing all the work and providing all the clients, you, for the role you play in that, are making a big chunk of all that money flying by and through this system. Where do CBS clients come from? Okay, they come from our solution partners. And what is the quality of those clients to you? Remember, you get them literally pre-qualified, ready to sign on. Okay, the US Bank doesn't bring you somebody that they say, here, go sell them. They're bringing you somebody that it's in their interest to bring them, and they have a relationship, and that person has been pre-qualified to need what you can do, and they're ready to sign on when you meet them. It just doesn't get any better than that. How has the CBS been positioned to the client? In other words, these folks here don't tell them, hey, go talk to Joe Blow over there. They're going to introduce you as a highly skilled, trusted advisor. So your credibility is established right in the introduction at the very front of your being introduced to the clients. So you come in with prestige and recognition right from the get-go. How does CBS leverage up the value of their time? The power tools that I've been explaining to you, plus a lot more that I don't have time to get into, are going to add high-value services that are going to produce income for you and make your time very efficient in the way you're able to justify that income. And how is the CBS income elevated and accelerated? It's multiple automated revenue streams help you optimize income in addition to the monthly fee income. Remember, this role sees a lot of people making $5,000 a month just for the role that they're playing there. Never mind all the multiple automated streams that come in on top of that. Okay, it's very exciting when you start doing the math. And then how does the CBS create wealth through equity? Using a build-up buy-in or a build-up buyout enables a CBS not just to buy a company, but to accumulate a portfolio of owned businesses. So in the past, if you were thinking about buying a business, you need to change your thinking, because in this role, you should now be thinking of building up a portfolio of owned businesses, because you're in the catbird seat. You're seeing and close to all of those business clients. You're seeing their need for an exit strategy. You're a trusted advisor to the company. They believe in you. And now you're going to satisfy their need for that exit strategy that they can't find, at least not well, in the outside world out there. And you can do it through build up buy-ins and build up buyouts, so you don't have to come up with capital to do it. Guys and gals, it does not get better than this. When you start to put yourself in that certified business strategist role and you start to think about all the permutations of ways that thing can create money for you in both income and wealth, it's extraordinary. Plus, and this is an interesting plus, we're going to take Scaleforce public. We're going to do an IPO in somewhere between 3 to 5 years. And everybody that's part of this company is going to have opportunities to own pieces of Scaleforce. A lot of it will be based on your production. A lot of it will be based on the things that you do. But by getting shares in Scaleforce, there are secretaries who were part of Microsoft in its beginning, who within 6 or 7 years after they went with Microsoft were multimillionaires from the pieces of equity that they had in Microsoft. The same thing is true with Google. The same thing is true of all of your technology companies. And we are a technology company. The only difference is we're a technology facilitated collaboration platform. Like Uber is a platform for taxi cabs. They don't own any taxi cabs, but they're the biggest taxi cab company in the world. Why? Because they get somebody who has a car and a cell phone who wants to be in the taxi cab business, and they give them the platform by which they can take those assets and do it. You have Airbnb, which is the largest lodging company in the world. And how do they get to be the largest lodging company in the world when they don't own a single hotel? They don't own a single condominium. They don't own any of it. They provide the platform that people who own those things can, through the platform, fill those lodging capacities. And by doing that, they make money, but the platform makes a lot of money facilitating that. If you really want to dissect Scaleforce, okay, it's not only a platform to take anybody in a B2B, business-to-business service or product and now facilitate their cross-marketing of all of their clients, but we're taking the most valuable thing that they have, and they don't monetize it now for a penny, and that we're taking their relationships and we're enabling them to monetize them big time. That's what we're doing here. And we're doing one more thing, which is also extraordinary. We're changing the paradigm for technology itself. Why? Because if you look at the platforms I just mentioned to you, what do? They use technology. So you get your cell phone, you plug into their technology, you're in the cab business, right? You got your car, but you don't talk to real people. You don't have anything to do with any relationship of any kind whatsoever. You just get business through the technology. That's all you do. We're doing something way different than that. We are taking technology and we're using it to empower a person, i.e. you, to make money off of relationships. You are in the people-to-people business. You are now enjoying what everybody is crying to do because technology has deeped our whole society. And what you're doing is using technology to make a relationship important again, to monetize that relationship, to get people communicating with each other, to use human interaction as the propellant for all the wonderful things we're going to do together. This company is at the leading edge right now of developing technology to improve and better relationships between people. Very exciting. And how does a CBS achieve these benefits quickly and cost effectively? This is what training and certification is going to do for you. It's going to condense learning and qualification for this into 6.5 weeks at a cost less than an extended family vacation. And if 6.5 weeks sounds like a long time to you, just think about people who went to college for 6 years, spent $300,000 and still can't earn a good living, still aren't happy with what they're doing. This is very condensed. Now, we have a handout for you. If you go into the panel on the right-hand side, you should see handouts. We got 2 of them in there. We want you to download those. And the Scaleforce CBS training guide is one of those. And that will take you through all of the things that we're going to be in your training. And I'm just going to whiz through these here because they're all going to be in this. These are all the things that we're going to take you through that are modules of our training program. Each one of these is designed to perfect everything you need to do this well. And at the bottom line, you're going to be trained how to make solution partners and clients your raving fans. That's the bottom line of the training, and make you a lot of money at the process. Now, the qualification is not going to be as easy as maybe you would hope. Not everyone will qualify. Remember, this is a trusted advisor position. We can't have people in these positions that don't measure up to what we tell our solution partners that we're having to drive this process. So we need to know you're qualified to be part of this, okay? And that means that we have to know about your competency, your experience, your skill sets, your integrity, your attitude, your demeanor, your likability. Because simply, if you think about this, if this is about relationships, ability and willingness to build a cosmic bond with every client and solution partner is essential. In other words, this is about how you get people to like you, trust you, and respect you and want to work with you. And if you don't have that, you can't serve the mission, because people do business with others they like, trust, and respect. That's the way of the world. So what we're going to be training you how to do is how to be this person, as well as all of the technical training that you're going to get. Is how to either accentuate the things that you already have that do this, or if you lack them altogether, you will have to train you how to be this. Because if you don't have this, you can't go far in a world that's based on relationships. And those qualifications are going to be brought out in an application that we have for you, that we're going to ask you to fill out. And it's going to ask you for your contact information, your work-related experience, your skills, your personal characteristics. You're going to evaluate yourself in this, and your education, special trainings that you've had, licenses, designations, or certifications that you have, any awards or honors that you've achieved. What are your activities and hobbies, references, expectations, and objectives that you have of us, any public records that could get in your way, verification, and sign, okay? So these things are important because we have to be able to assure everybody that the system is going to operate at the highest ethical standards and the highest level of proficiency that humans are capable of. And we're going to do everything we can to make that work for you. Now, one of the other handouts in the handout section is the timeline, so that you can get your arms around, okay, what's happening? When is it happening? When is this going to be done? What period of time? Now, this is just a summary. In the handout, you'll see on what's like a Gantt chart exactly what happens when. All of these things will be in there. You'll be able to see when each thing happens and the time span over which it happens. All right, magic question. What's this going to cost me, Bazaar? This all sounds really great, but what's it going to cost? I appreciate that. That's, of course, the big question. And I do promise you a happy ending here, by the way. All right, training. I mentioned this already, but people have paid $300,000 for 6 years of college that will not achieve a CBS level of income. So keep that in mind. All right, when we go to the public with this program, this is the price of what it's going to be for the entire training and all the things that go into what you're going to get. But in our inaugural group, the discount that's for you is 50% of that. So that's $14,375. But for many of you, that's still a sizable chunk of money. So we wanted to bring that down even a little bit more, make this really possible for you to do this. So what we decided that we could do is take a little of the risk of this back upon ourselves. And instead of having you pay 40% of that, and then the 60% deferred. So the amount to initiate it would be $5,750, but then the balance would be payable monthly, but from 20% of the earnings in excess of $3,000 a month. So if your earnings are ever below $3,000 a month, you don't pay anything. It's just you get what you earn. But once they go over that, then for the amount over that, 20% of the overage goes to pay this back until it's fully paid back. So that way we get it, but we get it later, and we only get it really from your earnings. To enroll in the program, we're asking you to put in a $500 deposit. It's not because we want your money. We just don't want applications from people who aren't serious. So we made it just enough so that when you fill out the application, we know you're serious about this, and we really can pay attention to processing you through and evaluating the materials that you're going to send to us. But we also want to assure you that there's a full refund if we don't accept you into the program, or if you cancel in 48 hours, because that'll be before we've done any of the real hard work of determining your acceptability and working with you to make sure you're right for the program. So you'll know enough to be able to cancel in 48 hours, or if we don't accept you, you get a full refund. We don't want your money. We just want to know that you're serious about this. And then there's $5,250 that is then due by the start of the training itself. So that's the total tuition and cost of the program. So hopefully you find that very attractive in light of the benefits that you're going to have here. We certainly do, and we hope you agree. Our invitation to you is to act now, complete your reservation, and deposit today. Now, where are you going to find this reservation form? In the chat box. You can copy and paste or click right on the chat box itself. It'll take you to that form. And also remember that training guideline that was also part of the handouts. It's right on the form. There's this link right here. Either way, it'll get you to the order form. Then once you have that, you submit it. Then download, complete, and submit your application. There's a link to the application download, and that will come in an email to you upon receipt of the completed reservation and deposit. So when you complete the reservation and deposit from this link right here, you'll get an email from us through Infusionsoft. That email will have a download link to the application, which you'll then fill out and send back to us. And then also it'll have instructions in the email for you to schedule your one-on-one interview with me. And that link to set up your appointment will come in that same email upon receipt of the completion of the application. This is the process. You just fill out your reservation and submit it. You'll be getting an email, and it'll take you to where you can get the application, and it will also provide you with the information that you need to log on to a link that gives you your one-on-one interview with me. Everything you need to participate in this is right there on that screen. This is the time to act. Get that link out of the chat box. You want to click on this, go to that form, fill it out, That starts you into the process, set your one-on-one appointment with me, and that's your chance to beat me up and say, hey, Bizarre, this is too good to be true. Now, come on, give me the real truth here. And I've already given it to you, but you'll have a chance to ask me any questions. You'll have a chance for me to personalize how your approach should be to doing this. If you have unique time commitments or any unique obstacles that might interfere with the startup or beginning of this, you'll have an opportunity to discuss them with me. All of them are there for you. We got 40 minutes together, and it's just you and me. I want to thank you all for your participation here today. I hope you've had half as much fun as I did. This, to me, is one of the most exciting things I've ever been part of, and it gives me great pleasure to share it with you and to bring you into a process that I know we can be winners together in doing something like this. So again, I want to thank you for being here. For those of you who are part of our various programs, our next pro webinar is on the second Wednesday of January at 1 p.m. Pacific time. Our next Essentials webinar, which is the balance of you. If you're not pro, then you have access to the Essentials webinar, is the fourth Wednesday of January. So hopefully this is a gift for you for Christmas. It's a gift for you for the new year. It's a pathway for you to have more of what you want in life by a lot. And I look forward to sharing it with you.